Alright guys, so we finally have some concrete information on EA Sports PGA Tour. I attended an online presentation where they walked us through the game. Now this may be out of date. A few hours after I release it, they're going to be releasing more information, but I will be covering that as well. So I'll have another video talking about everything a little bit later today, but I have a lot of information on the game for you guys here. I think it's well worth watching. Let's jump in and talk about it. So this preview event started. They had some really nice menu music while we were waiting to kick off the event, and then once it started, straight away you got a shot of all 4 major championship trophies right off the bat and Jordan Spieth playing at Augusta. They touched on the fact that it's been 7 years since their last release and 33 since their first release, which is pretty insane to think about, that Rory McIlroy PGA Tour was 7 years ago now. Like, that's a long ass time. It's crazy how time is just flying by on us. So a lot has changed in the world of golf since then. Obviously, we'll be touching on what they've changed and the new systems that they have in a little bit as well. This game is going to be exclusive to next generation consoles. It's going to be on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. It won't be on PS4 or on Xbox One. So to me, that's a good thing. Obviously, people that haven't got a next generation console yet are going to be a little disappointed, but I think that it's the right step for the game to really make sure that they can push this and use all the power of the consoles basically and make this a truly next generation golf game. So they touched on the 4 pillars to make this game successful. So the majors is the first pillar, the top courses in the world is the second pillar, pure strike gameplay is the third pillar with ShotLink as well, so they're using that with ShotLink. And then the fourth pillar was your career with unified RPG progression. So you basically decide what to improve in your game as you're going along. Kind of similar to how you'd have an archetype in 2K's game, but I think you build it up as you go in this game rather than just picking one from the start. So let's take a look at these 4 pillars individually. We'll start with the majors, of course, as I think that is the most important one. They showed us a little bit of an intro sequence from the Open Championship, an intro which was commentated by Nick Faldo, and it's much higher production than anything we've seen in a trailer package in a golf game before. I was blown away by the graphics in the game as well, especially of the course at least. So all major championships have lifelike trophies, of course, and they look very realistic and very damn beautiful, I'll tell you that much. Alright, the next pillar is the courses. So there's 30 bucket list courses, including Pebble Beach, Whistling Straits, Wolf Creek, and Kiowa. You have the Founders Circle at Augusta. The 13th hole with the flowers looked absolutely stunning. The ultra-realistic crowds. Let me tell you when I say that I have not seen crowds this good in a sports game ever, I don't think. At least in any of the sports games that I've been playing. The Pebble Beach cliffs look absolutely amazing. 4K resolution cliffside holes at Pebble Beach is just absolutely glorious. St. Andrews looks as stunning as ever. The pot bunkers look great. The foliage looks great. The tee boxes mirror real life as well. It's just basically as immersive as possible. And you can do Sawgrass with no crowd or full crowd, and I think you can actually even like decide how much of a crowd you want there, which is good to have more customization like that. The Country Club at Brookline has a very in-depth clubhouse and walkways where they used a chopper to get their visuals for all these courses as well, I believe. It's like a certain type of drone camera that gets like the maximum amount of pixels for absolutely everything in the game. Also, there is a lot of the same courses as 2K23, so it will be very interesting to see the comparison between the two side by side. Now, I do have a full list of the course names here, the 30 bucket list courses. I believe there'll be a couple of fantasy courses and stuff like that, but I don't know anything about that yet. Course names for all of the courses, I'm just going to list them off right now. So you have Augusta, St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, the Country Club, Southern Hills, Sawgrass, the Evian Resort, Eastlake, Wilmington, TPC Boston, TPC Southwind, Teeth of the Dog, TPC Scottsdale, Tara Iti, Whistling Straits, Kiowa, Chambers Bay, Wolf Creek, Liberty National, Bay Hill, Riviera Country Club, PGA West, Quail Hollow, Torrey Pines, Banff Springs, Top of the Rock, Bandon Dunes, and Harbour Town. So 30 courses for launch is quite a large number. I can't remember the last time a golf game launched with that many official courses. That is a big get for EA, 100%. I was expecting maybe 20 maximum. Because you think about it, Rory McIlroy PGA Tour in 2014 launched with 8 licensed courses, 8 officially licensed courses. That's an insane difference. They've more than tripled that, which is incredible. And PGA Tour 2K23 launched with 20 courses, so they have 10 more than 2K23 did at launch, and they have plans to expand and add more post-launch as well, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, let's talk about the pros. I didn't see a full list of the pros, but we did get to see a few in-game screenshots of some of the pros. So we saw Scotty Scheffler, Nelly Korda, and the screenshots that I saw of them were absolutely immense. We saw Tony Finau, and he's in 2K23 as well, so I kind of went back and compared the 2K23 and EA Sports PGA Tour screenshots, and I do feel like EA Sports, just with the character models, at least in the screenshots that I've seen, has a little bit of an edge. They're using scanning cameras with 130 cameras to get the perfect character animations. We saw Danielle Kang and Patrick Cantley as well. The crowd, again, that they showed here just looks so much better than anything we've seen before. Lexi Thompson is in the game. Jordan Spieth is in the game. Of course, we've seen Jordan Spieth in some of the trailers before, but we got to see another kind of video and screenshot of Jordan Spieth. All pros, a full list of the pros, will be announced at a later date, representing past and present, they mentioned as well, which is very exciting. And then they kind of went in and showed us the depth of the gear and the apparel. They had Titleist, Puma, Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, TaylorMade, Scotty Cameron, FootJoy, Bridgestone, Callaway, Ping, Cobra, Superstroke, Mizuno, Odyssey, and more. The gear looks great from what we saw as well. They have clubs and bags, and they have lots of variety as well. Like, they have the bag that you can customize, and you'll be able to see that out in the course, which I think is a nice touch. The character equipment screen that we saw looks clean. We only got a quick look at that. We got a quick look at the blueprints as well, which look very similar to the fittings in PGA Tour 2K23. And then to kind of close this section off, they talked about visual superiority, basically, in their golf game. And they want to make this the best looking golf game of all time. And from what I've seen, it definitely is easily doing that. Now, let's talk about the most important part, and that is the gameplay. So, we did see some gameplay. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. We saw a gameplay demo, and we're going to see more as well, I believe today or tomorrow or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but I'll be talking about that at a later day as well. So, the backswing based on overswing or underswing, basically, if you bring it back far enough, or if you don't bring it back far enough, or you bring it back to hold it back too long. The downswing then is based on the slow or the fast, like 2K23. So EA Sports uses TrackMan and ShotLink to really kind of get in depth with all the different type of shots they have in the game, and they have 20 different shot types in the game. 20. That is a big improvement over anything we've seen in recent golf games. On top of the fact that they have different shot types, as I mentioned, the TrackMan and ShotLink, they've used that to kind of redesign from the ground up the ball behavior. It's going to be more accurate based on terrain and course conditions. Even the way it hits a tree is realistic, and we saw that in the trailer. It bounces back off a tree. They talked about how they travel to the courses and talks to the greens crew to try and make sure that all the reads they got in the putts were correct, and everything they were doing was as real to life as humanly possible. Also, I did want to say, I'm sorry if this video is a little bit all over the place. I took down like a lot of notes in a row, so we might be kind of going back and forth between different stuff, but I tried to piece it together so that we're talking about the same stuff at the same time, and I'm not kind of going back and forth. But apologies if it is a little jumbled and out of order. I was kind of rushing to write down notes as I want to watch and kind of take it all in at the same time. So the production and the presentation for the majors that we've seen looks absolutely unrivaled. Like the packages, like specific packages that they have for the Masters, like they have the proper scorecards and everything that look absolutely Masters-like and Augusta-like. And then we kind of got a little bit of a gameplay demo after that. They played the 13th hole at Augusta. One was playing as Scotty Scheffler, and the other developer was playing as Jordan Spieth. We got a first look at a drive with Jordan Spieth. He actually hit a stinger off the tee, and that was the name of the shot type as well. And then Scotty Scheffler hit a power drive, which was awesome to see, using the boost as well, like the Tiger Woods games of old. So they have kind of a swing arc, like the new thing in 2K23, where it goes back along their swing as well. It seems a little bit different in the way that it works, but the basic premise of 2K23 and EA Sports PGA Tour gameplay seems the same. Now, I will say from the drives that I've seen, the backswing does look a little slow to me. They have custom swings for everyone, and I don't know if that's kind of being updated as they go. And but just overall, I noticed that the backswings do seem a little bit slow. Now, the way you set up to the ball before you hit your shot is great. The player is standing there kind of looking at the green and looking at your target, which is awesome. And he's moving based on where you're adjusting the marker to. And I really like that small little touch of kind of being able to see your player as you're setting it up and stuff like that. I think that's cool. I really like the idea of him kind of looking at the shot from the start rather than just kind of being immediately over the ball, ready to go when you get to your shot. Now, another couple of new shot types that we saw were the blast and the pick out of the bunker. The pick is to spin and the blast is to more like get it out and run it down there. So I'm really liking the variety of shot types that they have in the game. The more variety with shot types there is, the better in my opinion. They have the old Texas wedge as well, which was really cool. You can switch that from just off the green with your putter. Now, I will say the character models in-game do look a little off from certain angles like they do in 2K23, but from other angles then they will look really, really good. And you have to take this with a grain of salt as well, because this is an early build that I'm watching. It's not the final product, and there will be touch-ups and there will be improvements before launch. The putt meter is a little different as well. So when we got onto the green finally, like the putting, there's like a small rectangle next to your player and you kind of have to bring it back in the rectangle to your marker and then push it forward. It's a little bit weird, but I don't dislike it from what I've seen. I'll have to get used to it for sure. And these are all kind of assists that you can probably turn off as well. Like they had the putting line on and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not going to play with the putting line on or even the power drives on. At the start, I'll probably play with the power drives on just to have some fun with it. But generally, I'm going to be trying to make it a little bit more realistic and make it a little bit tougher as we go. Now, let's talk about the game modes. First off, we'll talk about career a little bit. They didn't go too in-depth into the game modes, but we will learn more about this as we approach launch, I'm sure. Now, in the career mode, you can begin as an amateur golfer, so you can go even further back than the Corn Ferry Tour, like in 2K23. You start on the Corn Ferry Tour and then you work to the PGA Tour. In this one, you can start as an amateur golfer and get invitations to a major before moving on to the Corn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour eventually as well, which is really cool. They, of course, have season progress and stats, including quests, which are basically like challenges. I'm assuming there'll be like new challenges every week or something like that, where you're kind of like, oh, make an eagle here or whatever it may be. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure. For the commentary team, they have Frank Nobilo, they have Rich Lerner, Noda Begay, Iona Steven, and Cernic Faldo. We didn't really get to hear too much of the commentary, except for that intro package from Nick Faldo, which I did think was really good, actually. Now, you will be able to unlock skill points to unlock shot types and improve certain areas of your game, which I'm not sure about unlocking skill points to unlock certain shot types. I feel like you should have access to all shot types from the beginning. That was a little bit of a weird one to me, but I'm not exactly sure on how that works. But I guess being able to improve your game to learn certain shot types would be cool, as long as they're not locked off based on any monetization or anything like that. That would be really silly. And I don't expect them to be, by the way, but as long as it's not locked off based on the way you choose to play either, I feel like you should have eventually have access to all shot types, no matter what kind of way you want to play the game. Now, one thing I found really interesting was courses have certain stats to fit your game too. They'll have a driving stat, a short game stat, a putting stat, and it will show like which stats you need to have improved to have the best chance at competing on this course. Like certain courses will suit your game and other courses won't, and they'll let you know which ones as well. Like you'll see how your game stacks up against the course's stats, which I think was really interesting. Say you're not long off the tee, and at Augusta you need to be long off the tee. It'll tell you like your stats will be way below the driving threshold, basically. That doesn't mean you can't play it or you're not able to play it, but it means you'll just be at a disadvantage when you are playing it based on your short distances. And I think that's like these kind of little things that EA Sports PGA Tour are doing, I think are really cool. They also have a challenge system to mirror real world golf. So they say they'll be adding in a lot of challenges as time goes on. Like say Tiger Woods wins the Masters in 2023 and he hits a certain shot. They'll like put a challenge into the game, like the challenge system where they'll put that into the game and you have to say chip in the eagle that he chipped in or something. I'm assuming that's how it's going to work anyway. We haven't seen it in action or anything, but that's the vibe that I got from it. You'll be able to try and like maybe go 4 under for the last 3 like Tiger did to win the Masters or something like that. That's just an example, obviously, but I think stuff like that will be getting added to the game on a regular basis, which sounds great. One thing I forgot to touch on earlier as well was Bermuda grass versus Rye grass. Like for heavy rough lies, that will change the type of lies and lie windows that you say. You're in the Bermuda heavy rough, it might be like 73 to 85%. Like that'll be a little bit of a big gap between the kind of lies you can get. But then on the Rye grass, it'll be more like say 78 to 81% or something. You'll be kind of more limited on the type of lies you can get, which I think is interesting based on the kind of grass that you're playing in and the type of course you're playing. So it'll change the type of lies and lie windows you get, as I said. By the way, did I mention the game is coming March 24th? It's coming out March 24th, boys. That's insane. I was not expecting the game to come out that soon at all. That's super exciting. It's actually coming out before the Masters, which is incredible. So they'll have a big hype up with the Masters and stuff like that, which I think is great. I think it's huge that they get it out in March, and that's going to be an awesome release date, and I cannot wait to do all of these videos in the build up and to have all of you guys finally play it in March as well, and kind of play against you guys and play with you guys then as well. Now let's talk about the online modes. So they have social unranked modes and they have competitive ranked modes with 9 and 18 holes. So they will have 18 hole ranked and 9 hole ranked based on the way that you want to play. If you're kind of in a rush and you want to do a couple 9 holes, that's fine, you can do that. And then I think you can do 18 hole ones as well, which is huge to me because 2K23, like the 9 hole online stuff, like I sometimes I want to do longer. I want to do the 18 holes, and I feel like 9 holes is over very quickly, especially in singles play. So yeah, the fact that they're going to have a competitive ranked mode in at launch is pretty huge, and I cannot wait to get in there and get to world #1 immediately in the ranked mode. No, but I am very excited about that because I used to absolutely love playing ranked in EA Sports, or sorry, in Rory McIlroy PGA Tour even. I love playing ranked modes full stop. Like just the kind of thrill of having a rank attached to your name. I hope there's like kind of different stuff like silver 2 or gold 1 or something like that. At least that would be really cool in my opinion. And they do have tournaments, which are kind of akin to societies, I guess, where you get paid out based on where you finish. But I'm not sure if you're going to be able to run your own tournaments or if those are just done by EA themselves. And they'll kind of have tournaments that you can enter every day or every week and get paid out based on where you finish. Hopefully there's a little bit more customization to it where you can do your own tournaments and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool and that would be awesome, but I'm not really expecting that at launch. I feel like I would have heard about it at least. But anyway, we'll see. If you could do your own tournaments, that would be awesome. And then they kind of showed us the 16 players playing simultaneously online mode, which was really interesting. It kind of looked like Divot Derby, but it wasn't. It was like actual golf. But you could see all of the other golfers' characters on the screen as well. Like you could see Lexi Thompson out there while we were playing as Jordan Spieth, while you were playing as your own guy. You can see all of the other golfers. You can see the 16 other golfers hitting their shots out there, which I thought was really interesting. That could definitely be a fun way to kind of have fun with friends and kind of do like little social tournaments where you're all playing at the same time. I think that sounds like something that could actually end up being really fun. Now, we've touched on pretty much everything there except for the post-launch content, which I'm going to touch on now. We've talked about the base game and everything that's coming at launch. Let's talk about the post-launch content, and guys, I'm so excited about that. This does include the Ryder Cup. Finally, the Ryder Cup is coming to a golf video game. That's just absolutely massive that we're going to be able to play the Ryder Cup. That's huge, and I'm hoping that there's kind of a system where you can do an online Ryder Cup as well with your friends and stuff like that. That would be even better, but just to have the Ryder Cup there at all is awesome in my opinion. Now, I do want to touch on the game as well. You can get 3 days early access to the game. You get XP and the Masters gear and an early online tournament for the Masters. You get the players gear and bag and covers as well. But that's about it. If you want to get it early, you can. I think you can get it on March 21st. Now, let's get back to the post-launch content. So, there's lots of new courses coming post-launch as well, including Oak Hill, LA Country Club, and Royal Liverpool, Olympia Fields, and Marco Simone as well. I mentioned as well the challenges based on what happens in real life. They'll be adding them post-launch as well, based on what happens in the real world. They're talking about adding more social ways to play post-launch as well. And they did mention as well that there's a Mulligan button now while you're practicing. So if you ever want to play a shot again after hitting a bad one, you just want to take it back and try it again, you can do that. And that's awesome. And that's pretty much all I have to say for this first video on EA Sports PGA Tour. I will have many more coming up in the very near future. I hope you guys enjoyed this first little insight into EA Sports PGA Tour, and I gave you guys as much info as I could right here on the first embargo. I will have another video up later today, maybe reacting to some certain stuff, but very excited about this game and everything that I've seen. But yeah, from everything that I've heard so far, I'm generally very excited. I'm cautiously very excited, because I don't want to get full excited and then be let down a little bit if like it launches in a bad state, or if there's certain things with monetization. I'm not sure on that yet, but from what I've seen, I'm very positive on it, and I cannot wait to see how it all turns out. Thank you for all the support on the videos, guys. I'm sure that the EA Sports PGA Tour videos are going to pop off, and I know you guys are going to support me through them as well. So I just wanted to say an early thank you, and I cannot wait to get this party started here with the EA Sports PGA Tour. Of course, we'll be playing 2K23 along the way as well, so you can check out my videos on that, and I'll see you next time. It's been my pleasure to serve you all. Peace out.